What is going on, Washington fans? Welcome to Taking Command with Josh Taylor. And I'm going to recreate that Shannon Sharp meme for a second. Oh, boy. We've got some big news. Of course, if you've, been looking at anything, news, Twitter, Instagram, doesn't matter, ESPN, you have seen the news of Dan Snyder looking, it's not official yet, looking to sell the team. And I'm sure I will talk about that on a separate video, but it just sets the vibes for a great Sunday at FedEx Field as we welcome the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm going to talk about this matchup a little bit and what I'm expecting, my predictions. And of course, I want to hear y'all. So subscribe to the channel, like if you enjoy what you see, but of course, drop your comments below the video to tell me what you're expecting out of this game. So I will be at the game Sunday for the blackout. I'll be wearing probably black Commander shirt, probably this hat, black jacket, black jeans, Chucks, whatever. Just all blacked out for this blackout game that we've been looking forward to. So if you see me, stop me, say hey, let me know who you are. I love meeting all the fans at the stadium. But this is an intriguing matchup. Got a couple storylines, football related. Like I said, I won't talk about the Dan Snyder news. I might do a separate video, or you can go over to my buddy Rio Robinson's channel, who's been killing it. He did a great video talking about the selling of the team. So check out Rio, subscribe to him as well. He's going to be joining me here on the channel probably Monday night. We're going to do a live show just recapping the game. And also, if you follow me on Twitter at Josh Taylor FB, you see that I'm giving away a Curtis Samuel signed card that I actually have right over here. So hop on over to Twitter, subscribe so you can see how to win this card that I had him sign over at training camp. But nonetheless, like I said, we've got a lot to talk about in this game. Minnesota is a 3-point favorite right now, and I'm not mad at it. They should be. They're 6-1. They should be favored to probably more than 3 points. But Washington is on a win streak right now with Taylor Heinicke at quarterback. Y'all know my thoughts of Taylor. Nothing personal. I hate all of our quarterbacks, except Sam Howell, because I haven't really seen enough of them. But still, I have nothing bad to say about Taylor Heinicke on this episode. So the Heinicke fans, you can stay put. Enjoy the episode. So 3-point favorites. The money line is 170 right now for Minnesota. That's intriguing. The over-under is 43.5, which sounds about right for me. And of course, the big talk leading up to this, I think the last time we played the Vikings was like 2019, but it's always talking about Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, the local media, whatever. It is always about Kirk Cousins returning to Washington. Kevin O'Connell, same thing. To be honest, I don't get the whole fascination of, Kirk Cousins coming back. Like, he was our former quarterback. It is what it is. He was a middle round quarterback. It wasn't like some first round top 10 guy. It wasn't like RG3 in 2012, like went off and then left us. And then now it's like, oh, what if we would have kept him? I think we can all agree that, Kirk Cousins would definitely be an improvement for what we have right now in the last few years. But still, we were ready to move on from that. So I don't get the fascination of, keep bringing it up and, this connection. I get it, but move on. He's not our quarterback anymore. He's not going to be. He plays for Minnesota now, the other team. So let's talk about our team. I would rather talk about Taylor Heinicke and what he's doing well than talk about the opposing quarterback and how he's coming back to the FedEx Field. To me, I have zero influence of Kirk Cousins coming back here on Sunday. Literally no emotions about it. So at the end of the day, I want to talk about our guys. And important news, obviously, with Chase Young getting activated, kind of. They have a 21-day window to where they have to activate him to the full roster, but he was at practice. Some say he looks good. Some say he looks stiff. I'm trusting the doctors. He's got a giant, brace on. Doesn't look good. But nonetheless, as I expected, Chase Young will not be playing this Sunday. The hope is for him to play next Sunday. Ron kind of hinted at that. We'll see. I just really wanted to see him at the game Sunday and play, be back home. I think our next home game is the Falcons on the 27th after this one. So we have a while. So nonetheless, next home game, Chase Young should be playing. Same with Jahan Dotson. It looked like he was going to come back and had some kind of setback. Didn't look too good at practice. So he's out. It's probably going to be another week or so for him. to be honest with you. Those hamstring injuries they linger so long. Just ask Curtis Samuel and what he had to deal with last year and trying to rush it and come back. That's one thing he said. He really took his time and, worked on it in the offseason. But for Jahan Dotson, the high burst, position like a wide receiver, that's where the hamstring really lingers the most. And of course, Cole Holcomb, linebacker, and David Mayo are both out. So expect a lot of Jamin Davis, but then also expect a lot of Cam Curl, kind of like we saw last week in the box. I hate to say it, that Buffalo nickel roll, kind of like that money backer, that's super safety. There's so many names for it when they're playing in the kind of defense that Washington plays heavily, did it a ton with, Landon Collins last year, kind of going back to that with Cam Curl. And you could do that when you have two really good safeties who have come out of nowhere and really surprised a lot of people with Derek Forrest back there. Of course, we got Bob McCain still. I'm not too sold on him, but Derek Forrest has come along nicely. Of course, we traded William Jackson III. I did a video on that and my thoughts of the cornerback position for Washington, what the numbers look like and everything. So go check out that video as well. But I think when I'm looking at the corners, this is the biggest storyline that you're going to see. Obviously, we have St. Juste on one side and we have Kendall Fuller on the other, but we have the wild card or the wild goose, Rashad Wild Goose, who came out of nowhere and really allowed for this William Jackson III departure to be okay, because he's been playing very well. And I said this many times on Twitter, and I've said it many times on here as well. The defense has played a lot better when you don't have that liability of William Jackson III back there. Now, this is where things get really interesting. I want to see how Jack Del Rio adjusts to this. And changing to that defense where you do have some of these safeties playing closer to the line of scrimmage will help out a couple times, because I'm sure you'll see it of Cam Curl, whether it's zone or man, especially in the zone. You're going to see a lot of Justin Jefferson. That's right. One of the best, if not the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. But Justin Jefferson, the Jetta, lines up in the slot 263 times this year so far, which is more than how many times he's lined up on the outside of 181. And we know that Rashad Wild Goose is that nickel, that slot corner for us. So it's going to be him on Justin Jefferson. And to be honest with you, as much as Wild Goose has been playing well, there's not many corners in the entire league that can cover Justin Jefferson. So it's going to be huge for safety help to be aware of where Justin Jefferson is going. But that also opens up the passing game for the newly acquired TJ Hawkinson across the middle of the field. We have two linebackers out. That's huge. That's where I like Cam Curl once again and Jamin Davis to be able to cover TJ Hawkinson. But then Adam Thielen, who's just that quiet guy, doesn't say much. He just shows up and works. Phenomenal, reliable hands, great route runner. Kind of been overshadowed since Justin Jefferson has become that marquee, marketable wide receiver for him. Adam Thielen never was that guy. He was like, not really like Cooper Kupp, because Cooper Kupp's getting his roses now, which he really didn't until like the last year or two. But Adam Thielen, for me, still is one of those guys that deserves much more credit than what he's been given. But Justin Jefferson, 52 catches for 752 yards, only has 2 touchdowns, so he's looking to get in the end zone. But still, they've got some big guys like Osborne, too. KJ Osborne. They've got some deep wide receivers. Obviously, Irv Smith went down. That's why they went and got TJ Hawkinson. But then you've got to talk about Dalvin Cook, one of the best running backs in the league as well. I think he's a guy that kind of gets forgotten time to time until he pops off and the media's like, oh, yeah, by the way, Dalvin Cook, he's really good. No duh. He's got 114 carries for 561 yards and 5 touchdowns this year. So they have a really balanced attack. Obviously, Washington does too in a different way than Minnesota. So I'm expecting, one, we need our defensive line to get after Kirk Cousins. And they played phenomenal. I think this has been one of the most complete seasons I've seen consistently wise as well from our defensive line, with Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Ron Payne. And then you've guys got like Obata stepping up. Smith Williams has gotten a lot better. Casey Toole had a big game last week. So there's been a lot of guys that have stepped up, with the absence of Chase Young. And like I said, Chase Young, he might be playing next week. It might be 2 weeks or so. We don't know. So I kind of figured we wouldn't see him the rest of the season. That's just my thoughts. And if he comes back, cool. You can add to this defensive line that's already been balling out. But let's take a look at the numbers a little bit more. The thing that obviously is very concerning is the amount of points that Washington is averaging on offense. That's 17.8, and they're allowing 21.5 points per game. So not ideal when the ratio is off a little bit. But Minnesota, there's games where they have like these spurts of where they're, putting up a lot of points like they did against Arizona. But then there's also games they're just kind of flying around like that low mid-20s mark. And that's where Washington really needs to keep this. I think if this gets above 28 points, then it's going to get ugly. I don't see Washington being able to score more than 27, 28 points on Minnesota, who's only averaging 20.6 anyways. So math and history itself for this season in the last few weeks are saying, and I mean, Vegas is always right. Vegas always knows. Vegas is saying too, hey guys, this is probably going to be a 24-20, 23-17, 24-17, somewhere in that range kind of game. And that's fine. I will say that Kirk Cousins has 5 interceptions this year with 11 touchdowns and 1,700 yards. Like, he puts up big stats, and he always does. But it's just been the costly turnovers that's always killed Kirk Cousins. So can he limit that? Can he make the big plays? Find Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne, TJ Hawkinson, Dalvin Cook. Can he let them really open it up? They've got Cameron Dantzler. He's questionable at corner. Dalvin Tomlinson, one of my favorite guys. He used to play at Alabama. D-tackle, he is out. But outside of that, they're pretty much ready to go. I think it is big having Cole Holcomb out. Obviously, Jahan Dotson would be big. By the way, J.D. McKissic, he's had a neck injury. Apparently, it's not looking good. He's going to look at a specialist or something. They said they're being very cautious about, going about that. So I expected big things out of J.D. McKissic this year. So it kind of sounds like he might be out for a little while. So hopefully he's good nonetheless. But for me, it's going to be all about, can Washington do two things? And it's kind of on both sides of the ball. We've seen the offensive line. There's been moments where it's been better than expected throughout the game, but then there's moments where it's much worse than expected throughout the game, where Heineke does have to use his legs and does things that Carson Wentz wasn't able to do. There's moments where Carson Wentz could not feel the pressure. He could not maneuver around a pocket. Sometimes he could. Sometimes he would go run for it, and he'd pick up big gains, first downs, whatever. Cool. But Taylor Heineke does it much, much better. He's much more efficient on his legs, but he also doesn't freak out until he needs to. But then he makes these crazy, like, how did he get out of that pocket? Like, where did he come from? Kind of plays. And he is smaller than Carson Wentz, noticeably smaller than Carson Wentz. That's one thing that kind of impressed me with Carson Wentz, is how he was still able to maneuver and break these tackles with a guy of that size. You're like, how does he get to these little cracks in the line like that? So it is impressive that Taylor Heineke is able to do that. And he's going to need to do that in this game. I mean, Minnesota's defense has been stellar this year. You got a guy like Zadarius Smith who has 8.5 sacks this season. I want to say that leads the NFL right now. That is crazy. The Packers are slapping themselves in the head for letting him go. Zadarius Smith is balling on another planet right now. And then they've got guys like Jordan Hicks, Harrison Smith, who's been one of those reliable safeties. Sometimes he gets burnt. Cameron Bynum. They've got some playmakers. Daniel Hunter, Patrick Peterson. He's going on a vengeance tour this year. He was pissed at that Arizona game. After the game, he's talking about the owner for Cardinals. I forgot what his name was. He's like, come see me in person. I got something to tell you. Like, you said I fell off. Like, you wrote me a letter saying, like, I'm not the same, blah, blah, blah. We don't want you back. Patrick Peterson's playing pissed off this year. And anytime you play a pissed off guy, it's dangerous. So they have some playmakers on defense. I'm not going to overlook it. Like I said, obviously the biggest one is Zadarius Smith. And there's just been so many times this season where the offensive line's just been atrocious. Like, you look back at that Eagles game, whether it doesn't matter if, Tom Brady's back there, Patrick Mahomes, that offensive line was so bad. And of course, they've been banged up. They've had to move. I mean, there's no team in the NFL that's played more offensive line arrangements than we have this year. There's no way. Every single game, just about, it's changed once, if not multiple times. So you have to make sure you can stop. And like I said, Dalvin Tomlinson being out, that's a good thing. Harrison Phillips is another D tackle they've got. That's good. They've got some guys up front, but Zadarius Smith, pass protection is going to be huge, whether it's Brian Robinson or whether it's Antonio Gibson or Curtis Samuels back there in the backfield, which we've done a good bit of. But I'm sick and tired of seeing Logan Thomas at tight end or John Bates at tight end in line to block their best pass rusher. You look at when Aiden Hutchinson, when we played the Lions, was going against John Bates, just plowed him over with one arm and got to the Carson Wentz in seconds. That is not what we need. We need our tackles to be able to chip, swing them outside, whatever, wipe. I don't care. Anything. I'm sick of seeing the tight ends be the ones that are reliable, that have to stop their best pass rushers. They're not, neither one of those two can stop Zadarius Smith. And that's just being honest. So, first off, protect Taylor Heinicke, because we've seen what happens when he doesn't. He throws bad balls. And then at the end of the game, he throws some crazy ones and makes up for it. But we can't rely on that every single game. If he's a guy for however long, rest of the season, a couple more weeks, whatever, you have to help him out with that eternal clock he has. Because when it starts winding down, that's when he freaks out and he throws it into quadruple coverage to Cam Sims, of all people. But when he has enough time and he knows what to do and he knows how to react, he can get out of the pocket, make that throw, even though it wasn't the prettiest, to Terry McLaurin, to give him a chance to catch the ball. And that's what we need. You need to be able to hit Curtis Samuel, Antonio Gibson, even De'Ami Brown, Terry McLaurin, whoever, in these quick passes, which we saw throughout the Colts game. I liked that game plan with Scott Turner. He wasn't forcing things down the field all the time. He was getting the ball in his playmakers' hands quick. Antonio Gibson looked really good in the game. There was one play when he went to the outside. I think it was the third down. He was almost pushed out of bounds, and he cut back in, picked up the first down. I think it was like 15 yards or so. So big-time plays. Getting the ball out quick and clean ones. No sloppy, nothing behind, not overthrowing, anything like that. Giving your playmakers a chance to make big plays. And that's what happens when you open up the deep ball to Terry McLaurin, who is just spectacular regardless. So at the end of the day, the way I look at it, there's a lot of momentum. Obviously, that place is going to be loud because of the Dan news and everything that's going on. You know, we're on a win streak. For some reason, we always beat a really good team throughout the season. We looked really good against the Chiefs last year, had them for a whole half, beat the Bucs last year. The Bucs weren't as bad as they are this year. So every single year we beat a good team. Could it be Minnesota? It's usually at home too. It's usually at home. Could it be Minnesota? I don't know. There's a chance. I think Vegas knows that this is a trap game for Minnesota. And that's why they have the line at only a 3-point spread. I think come kickoff is going to be about 3.5, 4, because I think money is going to go towards Minnesota right now. They're, the 6-1 team. They're the ones clicking on all cylinders. But I think their defense is suspect at time. They allow 294, almost 300 yards passing a game. But the big thing is they only allow 107 yards rushing per game. So I hate to say it, but it's gonna lean a lot on Heinicke. Can he limit the turnovers and get those quick passes off, like I said, and give the wide receivers a chance to find the hole, whether it's in the second level, third level, outside the hashes, whatever. It's gonna be a great day. It's supposed to be super nice. They're saying by kickoff 60 degrees, maybe a little bit above that. It's gonna be a crazy atmosphere. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to do some videos, maybe some shorts. I'm trying to catch some big plays. I had a couple videos that popped off on YouTube this year with like the Jahan Dotson catch against the Jaguars stuff. I was right there. This week, I'm going to be on the other side of the field at 139. So we'll see. I'm still going to be close to the end zone. So I'll hopefully get some cool plays, and I'll upload those on here as well. But guys, I don't know. I feel really good about this. If you gave me $100 and told me to bet it, though, I have to go with the Vikings money line at -170. That 3-point spread is enticing because I think we can keep it close. I think it will be close. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think this one is going to live up to what Vegas is expecting. If I had to say a score prediction right now, just a dead honest, I'm going to say Minnesota 27, Washington 23. I hate to say it. I really want us to win. There's a lot of momentum riding on this one. But once again, it all is going to fall into the hands of Taylor Heinicke, but also Scott Turner. Draw some things up, help him out, get these quick passes once again, I got faith. That's just my honest opinion. Once again, I hope we do win. If we win, I think it'll be a 27-24 or 27-23 kind of game. But whether you're looking forward to the return of Kirk Cousins, the blackout game, the Dan Snyder news, whatever, this is a great week to be a Washington fan. I mean, this has been the highlight of our season, honestly. Not only just because of the win streak that we have going on, we have Chase Young looking like he's coming back, and then also the big time news with the possible sale of the team. So I appreciate y'all checking out this video. Like I said, follow me over on Twitter at Josh Taylor FB, like football, because I don't just talk about the Commanders, talk about all football. Like I said, subscribe to the channel and check out the giveaway that I'm doing on Twitter because you want to win that Curtis Seaman card. He's balling out this year. He can have a big game this Sunday, and I will see y'all on Monday night. If I had to guess, probably like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm going to go live with Rio. We're going to talk about this, talk about the game. He's going to be there too. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere. So tune in, drop your thoughts. Like I said, subscribe. Don't miss out. Got a lot of big things cooking up with the draft too, draft prospects, cornerbacks. I'm looking at everything. Offensive line. Stay tuned. Got a lot cooking up. I'm super excited about this. Appreciate y'all checking out this episode of Taking Command with me, Josh Taylor. Peace.